Well, Saturday, the 3rd of January. I thought it was December then for a second, but no, it's not. It is the next month. So look, guys, I hope we're all doing extremely well. Happy New Year. If you guys, this is the first time you've been on since December. Can't really say that now, but look, I think I can say it until Monday. So look, Happy New Year to those of you who have not been here for a little while. I'm JB, of course I am. I hope you guys are doing extremely well. Lots of stuff to catch up on, lots of stuff to talk about. Look, I'm very calm today. I think I had my annoyance, had my kind of meltdown. Guys, let me know in the community if you can hear me. I'm wearing a headset today. Let me know if you can hear me. If not, I'm going to have to sort it out. So fingers crossed you can hear me. Let me know in chat if you can hear me today. Hopefully you can do that. Jaden, I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Let me know, Jaden, if you can hear me. Hopefully you can. Perfect. Awesome. So look, one of the first things to say is get into this amazing community. This is the best community on this platform. I think we've shown this so many times. The things that we say on here, other big channels I notice are going with it. And look, I'm not saying that it is down to them. Jane says you're still my favorite YouTuber, by the way. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I really do appreciate that, buddy. So look, one of the things I wanted to say is get into this community. How is United at the moment, says Jaden? A bloody mess, mate. It's an absolute mess. And look, this is what I wanted to go over tonight. John O'Connell is in the house, legend. Hope you're doing extremely well. So like tonight, this is an evening show, right? It's not called the evening show tonight, but this is an evening show tonight. Purposefully haven't done one today. I am going to confess, I have seen some stuff today. For the first time in a long time, I have actually watched some stuff today. I have actually watched some other channels today. For the first time in a long time. I have listened to what others have to say, and I'll tell you for the reason why I have to listen to what others say, because I think there's something that needs to happen. So look, I will go into that as well. He's gone, JB. I'm a niche fan. We will get into it. So get into this community. The only thing that we do ask is that we are respectful. Don't know what 10:30 says, but 10:30. Don't know, mate. Get into this chat. Get into this amazing community. Be respectful to the chat. Be respectful to me. Otherwise the ban hammer comes out. And look, be respectful to yourselves. We don't mind banter. Absolutely do not mind banter at all on the channel, just as long as it is respectful. It's not aimed at the fans. Look, everybody gets on extremely well. Second thing says, look, I'm not a dictator of this chat. I do read out your chat. So if you're used to other channels, you drop it into other channels and making a comment and hoping that people don't see the comments. I see your comments. I see your comments. I read your comments because it's perfectly correct of me to do that. Get in there. What I'm going to say is get in there tonight. I want to know your opinion. So this is your show tonight. I think tonight, get in your opinions again. Let's go back and forth tonight. I don't really care if you're Amorim in, Amorim out. Tonight, I've got my views and opinions on it. And look, and as the thumbnail says, the thumbnail is purposefully green. The thumbnail is purposefully gold. I think that should tell you everything that you need to know. I think this club is a complete staple. Look, I want to know what you think about the club. I'm going to go into some other things as well. John says, I hope he quits. It would make in. I agree, John. And do you know what? I agree with you. I hope that Amorim, and I will set out the scene for me, because after the press conference, I will set out the scene as to my position on the manager. But look, that for me is the most trivial part. So look, Let's get into it. So I will go through the comments. Dino is in the house, legend, and I will go through your chats now. So look, let's get into it. I will go with my opinion as well, and look, I will start to read yours. Niche fan said, JB, he's gone. He's resigned. I'm sure of it. At 10:30, Judgment Day for Amorim is approaching. Vivell and Amorim got into it, and Amorim has walked. I'm sure of it. 10:30, the presser drops. Well, the presser is basically the embargoed section. So look, I don't know. It's been embargoed until then. Look, it's embargoed because that's what it is, right? They always do the two parts, right? They always do the embargoed section. Doesn't mean he's going to quit. Doesn't mean he's not going to quit. But again, I'm going to get into because look, I think Amorim is the least. I think this is an abject failure from top to bottom. I think it's a steaming pile of shit. I think they're liars. I think they're cowards. I think they are incompetent. And let's see what you guys think. Got a feeling it's mutual termination and will be announced after tomorrow's game, regardless of the results. Dino, I don't disagree. John says he talked about walking away after the Brighton game. Look, let's talk about that as well. I'll just make a note of that for a second. Wilfred Nancy sacked from Celtic, mate. Martin Fay, I hope you're doing extremely well. And look, you know, I think Amorim's sacking, Amorim's walking, I think is two different things. I think we need to talk about. Riz says United away fans need to boycott away matches because home fans won't do it. It needs to start with United fans away. Time to start the boycott, and I will come on to that as well. Just sell up INEOS and the Glazers, please. So look, there's so many places to start on this stuff. So look, I think let's be fair. I'm not going to spend too much time in it. It really depends on what conversation you guys want to have tonight on it. But I'm going to start off with this. I'm 99% sure he's walked. And look, do you know what? Do you know what, guys? Right, tonight, the fact that the majority of you have said tonight, you're 99% he's walked and good for him. I agree with you. This is where I'm at on it, right? Amorim for me is the least of the worries. Look, players-wise, again, look, we can blame players, or I can blame players. We know what these limitations are. We know what these players are. This ownership are cowardly, incompetent, liars, and cowardly. Amorim is going to pay with his job. He's going to pay with his job, and you're right. We've been Look, we've been talking about this on here for so many times, right? I've done video after video of the Glazers. We as a community have spoken about this for and look tonight, right? I've watched some stuff today. I've seen some thumbnails today. I'm not talking about players anymore. I'm not talking about the transfers. I'm not talking because that is the least of our concerns, right? Amorim today, look, Amorim has to go, right? And I've supported him, as you guys know, after the Grimsby game, all of the games, right? The last press conference for me, he has to go, right? And I'm not talking about Amorim has to go because of the results, right? And that might seem mad, right? I don't want Amorim to go because of the results. I don't really want Amorim sacked. I want the guy to go for his own sake. I mean, you watched the conference, as Dino said there, right? The last press conference was disgusting. Like, I lost my shit, right? Amorim basically saying that we could win any game in any circumstance. He knows it's not true. And I've been reading over it again, and I've watched the conference. He doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it. Amorim has to say it, right? And look, you know, the reason why I've supported him until now is because that conference is not about results. Amorim hasn't been given his players. He's been fucking lied to. He is the wrong coach, right? These players are disgusting players. This ownership are lies and cowards and awful, right? The fall guy is always the coach. Always the coach, right? The last conference, I want him gone because he has to go. Like, for his own sanity, go. Because there's absolutely no reason for him to be here. It's like this ownership has sucked the life out of this guy. We've burnt another manager. You can see it. It is Ten Hag. It is Ten Hag, Jose, Ranić. This club, and look, we will get on to the INEOS side of it, but I wanted to start off with the coach today because, again, look, I know people dislike him. It really pleases me though to hear certain comments like we want him to go for him and good for him, because I want him to walk. I want him to walk. And look, is he good enough? I don't think he is. I think for whatever support is out there for him, Amorim is too weak. Amorim is too young. He doesn't command players. I think he's in awe of players. He's a very, very young guy. They don't respect him, right? And look, Amorim should have been given the respect. Amorim should have been given the respect of the players that he asked for. He wasn't. I've said this. This is what I said. Go back and check it. I said this. If Amorim keeps Fernandes, relies on these experienced players, he's going to get sacked. Not because I'm right, not because I'm great. Many of us said this. Amorim relies on basically on Bruno Fernandes and these players. He's going to get the sack, and he's going to get the sack. He's going to get the sack. So look, I wanted, and again, give me your opinions. I will when the presser drops. Let me see if I can get the presser live actually. And then I'll stick in my headphones, and then I will repeat to you what he says. Okay, let me get it up. Okay, so I'm ready to go for the presser when it comes out. So I will turn back on. So look, get in your opinions. Serious Fan says Happy New Year, and a Happy New Year to you. So look, give me your opinions tonight. Before we progress, I want to put the manager thing to bed, right? Give me your opinions on whether you think this whole mess is his fault. Do you think it's a mixture? Do you think it's the Glazers, INEOS? Do you support INEOS? Do you support the Glazers? Do you support the coach? Where do you sit? Number one, on blame. Where do you sit on the manager? Because look, we might as well talk about it, because I want to put Amorim to bed in the first part of this show, because I want you guys to have your opinions. I want to put this to bed, because look, what we try to do on here is with the transfer shit, right? Putting that to bed. That has been put to bed. I've already given my opinions on that, not because that's the end of the conversation, but I think we've done that to death, right? The manager stuff. Look, we all know what's going to happen. We've seen this movie before. We've seen this before, so we sort of know what's going to happen. So look, I give me your opinions, and I am going to read through them in a second. So get those opinions in while I turn down this light because it's bugging me. That's better. So yeah, so look, give me your opinions in on that. So look, let me just get through the chats, and then we can go on to some different stuff. So Judgment Day is approaching. Vivell and Amorim got into it. Yes, he did. I hope he's quit. It will make INEOS look bad. I've got a feeling, yeah. comments, Amrin coming out the club. Amrin's presser just seems he's done already. I do agree with you. Riz says, best fan channel. Talks about serious issues which the others won't. Thank you, my friend. Stop buying shirts and the merchandise, then INEOS and the Glazers will sell. Do you reckon he's gone? Could be he's announced he's leaving in the summer. And look, could be, but Niche, don't read too much into the embargoed section. The embargoed section is pretty much just standard, right? It could be that they've pulled it and they're going to do some sort of presser live, but I no. John says they will sign Belabor to shut the fans up. He will walk because of the board interruptions. Now look, Glazers outside Jez Martin, I completely agree. John, they're not going to sign Belabor, mate. Look, John, I love the opinion, my friend. They won't sign him. They can't sign him. I've personally been saying this for months, and look, I respect people's opinions. I've been saying for months it is a Gallagher or nothing. And as Ruben said in the press conference, Romano has said this. I know people are talking about Romano has said stuff today about Belabor, about Belabor's not coming. You know, he's there's been no chat and stuff. Channels are regurgitating this shit. Romano said it the other day. I don't know why channels and the media are regurgitating the Belabor shit. This has been said for weeks and for months, and Romano said it at the beginning of the week. Man United are not going to make signings. They're not going to get a Belabor unless they put in a massive bid. But yet channels and media are putting it out today. Belabor is not fucking coming unless United put in a stupid bid. Why would they do that? The only reason now that they would do that is because they're scared that fans are going to protest. I'm calling protests. I would be there. I would be there. I think the only way to sort this out now is the protest. Now, look, I've contacted the 1958, right? I'm going to try to get them onto this channel because I want to speak to them. I want to see what they've got planned. I want to support them. I want to support any fan group who basically wants to protest. I will happily put it all over the channel. So if anybody's got any contacts into any sort of group, the 1958, let them know that I will put them on this channel. I'll be giving them as much airtime as they possibly can. And the protests for me are the way to go. Niche fan says Vivell had a pop at him. Ash says, hello buddy, how you doing? Ash, I'm doing extremely well. Dino says, I think it's been agreed from me. There seems to be a change in Amorim and the club have gone awfully quiet. Last time they came out with a statement saying they will back him. Nothing in this time. A lot of the stream, 30 of us watching, exactly. Just give us a quick like. It costs you nothing. Or if he walks, he can do a massive exposure unless he's done an NDA. I would assume the NDA's already been done. I think when he signed the contract to begin with, the Glazers are not stupid. I think he would have already signed an NDA before, like, as he signed the contract. Dina says, I like Amorim and have backed him like JB. But this experiment is not working. And Dino, yes, you have, mate. You know, there are many of us on here. And look, whether you've never supported him, I know Mark Harris, for example. I talk about Mark Harris because he was one of the first people here, right? Mark Harris was when I had 100 subscribers, I think, you know, like he was here. And at that point, Mark was talking about it. And the point here is, look, it doesn't matter if you've been hammering out for the last year. It doesn't matter if you've been hammering in and you still are. I want to know the opinions here because I think that you guys have to have a voice. You guys have to have an opinion, and I will read out the chat. So give me those opinions tonight. And like Dino, you know, I know many of you guys now. I know many of your names. I know the things you say, and it doesn't matter if we agree or not. But like, it is frustrating, and it's what's sad to me, or what's interesting to me, is like people like Nish Fan, me, and Adino as well. As you can see an evolution in our opinions. You can see, the Dino and I've maybe supported him for quite some time. Niche kind of was supporting him for a bit and then moved early. It doesn't matter. I think what's important is that the club now, we need to think about what happens to the club. Danny Rowe is younger than me, and we pumped so 3-1. Thanks for the nice response, JB. Look, mate. I think I predicted a Rangers win. I think Barca won 2-0. Knowing INEOS, there will be an NDA for sure. Happy New Year. Rangers are a horrible bunch, says Glenn. The Leeds United game is United's biggest game of the season. I can see Leeds winning at Cantor if they score in the first 20 minutes. Look, again. I'm happy to take opinions on the game tonight. I personally don't care. Look, I will tell you where I care about the game tomorrow. As a United fan, I care about the game, right? I care about the fans. That is what I care about in this, right? Is that I appreciate that there are fans out there who are not as entrenched in this, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There are fans who are not bothered by the Glazer and the INEOS stuff. All they see is they see the manager stuff and they blame the manager, right? There are kids out there who just want their favourite players to play well. I always want this team to win, because I've been wanting this team to win for 38 years, right? It's a habit that I can't break. It's a habit that every single Saturday, whether we play or not, the habit for me is to check the scores, right? Whenever I know that United are playing, I will always check the scores. It doesn't matter if I can't stand the club. Doesn't matter if I can't stand the players. I will always check it, because it is part of me, right? As you get older and you care more, things change, right? But I want the team to win tomorrow, because I know there are millions of fans, billions of fans, or a billion fans who basically just care about the winning. It makes their week. Those are the people that I want this team to win for tomorrow. And it's up to us behind the scenes to worry about that. Celtic manager is looking for a new job. DJ Dark says, sup everyone, Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to you, my buddy. Matthew says, it's a hard one. I think we stick with the manager until the summer at the very least. Now, I was of that opinion. I don't know. I'm just keeping an eye on the presser as well, because I know the embargoed section is coming out as well. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that. And then let's see what goes on with that. I'm just keeping an eye on the embargoed section. Don't know if that's coming out. I don't know when that's coming out. When that comes out, we can read that. So I don't think that Amorim will lose his job until it becomes impossible for United to secure Tuesday night soccer. And do you know what? Look, part of me thinks that, but I think this has progressed now. Serious fan, look, on the last show, I said, even though I want Amorim to go now, just purely because of I think he has to, I would give him until the end of the season, right? Because there's no point bringing anybody in, and I hope that is still the case. But I think something has shifted. I think something has changed. I think something is not right. I think something has changed. I do. I think something has fundamentally changed, and I don't know whether look. Should he go to the end of the season? Yes. But if this is how this team is going to be, if I was him, there is no point. There is just no point to continue. But I agree with you. I would give him until the end of the season, because what else are we gonna do? Says, Happy New Year to you and your family, John. God bless. Martin Fay, back at you, my friend. I hope you had a good Christmas and a happy, healthy 2026. Nisha says, I don't support any of them. I want Qatar and Glazner. Ash says, I say let Amron cook. You guys need a manager with some balls. If he starts making changes every other time someone complains, plays, and the management will walk all over him. Since Fergie, no manager has lasted more than 2 years. I don't see Amron lasting much longer. If Amron is indeed sacked in the summer, then signing players for him in Jan doesn't make any sense. But then if you don't sign players, then you will not get European nights, which impacts your budget. And look, again, this is the conundrum. You know, this is the conundrum. You know, and my stance recently has been this: don't sign players for a manager, right? And what I mean by that is this. If you were going to let Amorim dictate, so what I mean by that is INEOS have brought him in. He's a specialist guy. So if you're going to do that, you've got to give him players. That's a fact, right? I'm of the opinion, and it's probably too late now, is what we've done is we've always let a manager come into the side and basically dictate and play their way and sign their players, instead of a club having a philosophy. Instead of a club dictating the way we want to play, go and get a manager. Look, say, this is the way we've played since 1958. This is the way we've played since 1928, right? We want excitement. We want to be brave. We want leaders. If those are the fundamentals that you want for this club, you can dictate that. So go and get a manager who aligns with your fundamentals. Liverpool, whatever people think of Slot, that is what Liverpool did. Klopp went and they went and got a manager that fits into the fundamentals of what they've done. City have now, whether or not people agree or say, you know, City started in blah blah blah, right? Man City now have an identity. They've got the Pep way, right? And I'm not saying that they're going to continue with the Pep way, because you can't continue the Pep way unless you've got Pep, right? But they probably now, I think, got a style of football that works, so they're going to continue that. If you look at all the dominant eras of Liverpool, you could even say Everton, Villa, Arsenal to a degree. If you look at those eras, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, City, if you look at those eras, right, the one fundamental thing, and you can take out the different style of football, you can take out the managers, you can take out the eras, but what is absolutely fundamental, if you look back, is that they have got a way that they play and they continue. Liverpool of the 70s and the 80s up to 90s had a style of play. They had a not a style of play dictated by the manager, but a demand from the club as to what it is that they wanted to do. Shankly pays, you know. We suffered. Fergie came in, and there's a reason why Fergie lasted for all those years. Is because he had a fundamental style of player, fundamental way of playing. Pep has done the same now. Klopp did the same as well. So look, you know, we are now struggling, and I believe this club from day dot should have said, any competent club would have said, we want to play this style of football. We need a manager who comes into this side and plays that style of football. And we don't mind you picking some players, but we need to collectively go for players. Now, where this has been, and again, people forget this, and I don't. There was an interview with Wilcox, 2 months ago, Wilcox went to a dinner and there were some questions. And he wasn't calling out the Glazers. He basically said when he came to this club, there was no cohesion, there was no link between the owners, the management, the football side, the players. Those were his words. There's still none of that here. INEOS is fucking Nice all over again. And look, I know people want somebody to blame, but this is Nice all over again. And it has been universally accepted that Nice is a fuck up. And they're doing it again because they don't have a clue what they're doing. And they brought in a manager on a style of play that we don't play. And whether or not I like these players, you've given him a mishmash of players. You've given Amorim a mishmash of players. You've asked a coach who plays a different style of play and players who can barely play a 4-3-3 to all come together and work together. Disaster. As Joe says, let's stick with Amorim. He's getting there. And look, Jerry, look, mate, I don't disagree with that either. I'm hearing it's spicy news, says Niche Fan. I don't know where you're hearing that, mate. Let's do it. Let's see what's going on. Latest. I'm not seeing anything about the embargoed section, mate. I'm not seeing anything about that, mate. I'm not seeing anything at all, mate. I'm not seeing anything at all. Let's have a little look. Anything about embargoed? It's nothing, mate. There's nothing yet. Nothing. Look, let me know in the chat if there's anything that you hear when we're live, and I will absolutely go to it as well. Serious Fan says, I think that you should sign at least 3 midfielders to solve your issue. Sign at least one in the January before the World Cup. And look, I agree with you. Let me just do something quickly. I will be back. Give me a second and I'll be back. I'm back. I am back. Back. Right. Belabor will come in the summer, says Niche Fan. Getting specialist wing backs also key, as your wing backs are so far back when they see the ball. John, you can't have a World Cup without the Irish parrot. Mate, fantastic. Why would you spend all your money on Anderson or Belabor when you know that you need multiple new signings to shore up your 11? And look, mate, I'm going to... Tonight is your show, and I do want to answer your questions. I'm not going to get too hunkered down on the transfers because look, Amorim has said it himself. United don't plan on making any. They don't plan to sign players, and I think it's because Amorim's going. I think they're not going to sign players because they know Amorim is going. Right, okay. So press conference has just come out. I'm just trying to see. All right, so the presser part 2. Bloody hell. Right, presser part 2 seems to have disappeared. Interesting. So the presser part 2 was up a few seconds ago, but it seems to have disappeared. Interesting. You think United could put in a bid for Rice? No, mate. Do you expect Calvert-Lewin to do so well at least? Surely he's a better option. And look, Serious fan. The other day, and I am the sort of person who basically admits to his mistakes, right? I gave Calvert-Lewin on here a shit time. I said I didn't want him anywhere near the clubs. The videos are there to watch, and I've apologised. You know, there are times that I've got to apologise because I get things wrong, right? And I got it wrong. Look, long-term Calvert-Lewin is not the answer, but I was wrong. Calvert-Lewin, I think in this side would be okay. Amorim's presser is there, but yeah, there is something happening. But look, he would be, but I got it wrong on him, and I'm happily to. Well, I'm unhappy, happy to like hold my hands up and say, look, I think Leeds got a bargain there. Stick with 150 million for Rice. Anderson is off to Liverpool, the most talented young midfielder in the league, going to the British best club in the world. Makes sense. Yes, I do agree, but I don't agree that Liverpool are the best club right now. They're not. Could they be next season? Yeah, they could be. Stephen says Maresca took so much off the board. Amorim is a yes man, big time, and I agree, Stephen. Sorry guys, I keep looking at the presser to see when it comes out. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay. There's some that basically the United server has just gone down. That's interesting. That is interesting, actually. I think so many people have turned into the press conference that it's gone down. Interesting. Agree, Stephen. The last press conference, I did a video about it. I lost my shit. I agree with you. Amorim is a yes man. Maresca, I think Maresca for me has just made him look bad. Look, I by no means blame him for this. I think Amorim has to go for his sanity. Dion says we will put in a bid for Anderson, but it will be nowhere near the price tag. Gives INEOS and the Glazers an easy excuse of we tried. I do agree with that. Nishman says, yeah, I went early, but I wanted him to succeed. Yes, you did. Baleba is a poor third for us. Rice will leave Arsenal for only two clubs, Millwall and his beloved Spurs. Amorim out, but no plan for who will replace him. Remember Ten Hag, you never know what you got until it's gone. And in Boomerless United are very stodgy. Mate, we were rubbish with these players and we're rubbish without the players. John, Irish lads still need a miracle to get to the World Cup. So much for 48 nations competing in 2026. It's really hard for Ireland, Wales, and Scotland and Northern Ireland to qualify. No, it is, mate. It is ridiculous. It is a absolute farce. They would rather countries like Chad or these lower island teams to qualify. Matthew says it's Leeds. Like, share, and subscribe. Exactly. United could be playing marbles. Grace is in the house. Grace, the legend, and Grace is the boss. Grace is the keeps us all in check. Didn't we sack Ollie and Jose after winning cups and finishing second? I should be the manager. It will help us win the league. Deadly Christmas. He's not. He's just European. Yeah. Is there any possible transfers at all this window? Dylan, I've said this. I will die on my sword. I don't think there will be. Look, if protests come back, which I will 100% support, I I don't think it will be. I think it will literally be, and again, I've been saying this for weeks now. Many of you have been saying the same thing as well. Fabrizio has said it. Amorim has said it. They don't intend on making any signings this window, and if they are, they're not going to be significant signings. Andrew says, "Happy New Year, my friend. I went to London to see New Year, and I think United need to win tomorrow and continue winning games because we've only got 19 games to go." Andrew, my friend, hope you're doing extremely well, buddy. I did watch the London fireworks. I was at home, basically watching it with the kids, and we were asleep by about 12:30. Looking at our Legends chats tonight, you just see not many of us are convinced. Ish fans a minute. JB, I watched TalkSport earlier on, and the conversation was about a possible replacement for Amorim. 2 names in the comments keep popping up: Pochettino and Conte. No, mate. I mean, look. I'll tell you, Dino. I'll tell you why. No, right? Pochettino would be a joke. Pochettino is the Argentinian Southgate. We've already got the Portuguese one, so we'd have the Portuguese Southgate. We could have Southgate, or we could have the Argentinian one. Pochettino, no. Conte, yes, but guess what Conte would want? Conte would want players. There is no way. With Conte's work ethic and Conte the way that he plays, there is no way these players could play his system. There's no way these players could play with the intensity that Conte wants. If you look at what Conte's done, these players cannot do that. This board will not buy Conte players, and Conte would last less than a year. Pep will never be Alex John. Great Pep. But yeah, I agreed, mate. Hobie says, good evening. It's such a roller coaster of crap at this club. All of us hanging in there waiting for consistent change. That never seems to come. We are the only giants of football that is desperate to loan players. Arsenal, Liverpool, City, even Chelsea never loan players. President says, bro, we lost to Wolves today. I saw that. President, I saw that today. Look, President, I saw that today. Look, doesn't mean that I'm happy. Doesn't mean that I'm happy with our draw. It is look, West Ham have got their own issues. I've got a soft spot for West Ham, by the way. My parents used to live in Upton Park. I don't support West Ham, but I've got a very, very soft spot for West Ham. I do fear for West Ham. I do. Our style of football went out with dinner and tea ladies. I love it. 1954. The players are lazy and don't care. Agree with you. I honestly think INEOS has too many fingers in too many pies. They can't cope. JB is back in the room. Yes, I am. Wilcox has said there's no money for players he wants. He said it on the presser. JB watched the presser. I will do, my friend. I felt bad for Ruben in the presser. Wilcox has said he's not getting any more players. So Jim is what? 78. We do. Everyone's been a bit dramatic, I think. And look, mate, that's your opinion. Look, that's your view. People have their different opinions, right? The presser, man, I don't know what's going on with it. Right, okay. Presser is out. So look, I'm gonna quickly go to it. I'm gonna get my headphones and I'm gonna quickly go for it. All right. And I promise you guys, I will come back to the chat. Let's take these off for a minute. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this one in. And then I'm going to take, hopefully, Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Luno, if you guys can still hear me, because I'm going to listen to the presser right now. So let's get onto this. Okay, so basically just asked about the Calvert-Lewin thing, and basically asked why didn't you go for him in the summer? And Amber said that we had our targets. He's been asked about his system, playing a 3-4-3. So basically, Amram was just asked about him changing his 3-4-3, and basically just been asked why is it taking him this long to change the system. He just said he doesn't want to talk about that. He just wants to focus on the Leeds game. I'm telling you now, Amorim's done. Amorim's just got a big sigh. He's just not answered that question. He doesn't want to talk about it. Wow. Okay. He's just been asked about. The press has just asked him basically about why is it taking him a year? Is it Wilcox? Is it the budget? And Amorim's basically his responses right now are I don't want to talk about it. This man is done. So we have scored a bunch of goals. He's been asked a game about questions about we've scored, we're up there for goals. Talking about taking risks. Talking about gambling now. Talking about Amorim taking risks in the Ferguson years, in the Busby years. Asking if he looks at games and should he be taking more risks. Amorim's basically saying that he's scoring more than most teams. That's the point. He says he understands the team better than anybody. When Amorim looks at the pitch, he knows which player is tired. He knows which player is going to struggle if there is 1v1. So he's just said there, Amorim, he just said, his own words were, Amorim just said that he can look at the team. He knows when each team's tired, when his players are tired, and he knows which players struggle the one-on-one. Well, you don't, do you? Because you play Luke Shaw. Like, and I'm not just having a dig at Luke Shaw, but you play Luke Shaw, mate. Like, you if you know the players that struggle, why do you keep playing Bruno Fernandes at an 8? Why do you keep playing only Casemiro, who's 34, in the midfield? Why do you keep playing Luke Shaw? He just said sometimes it's the right substitution, sometimes it's the wrong, but I just do what I try to do, but I do my best. Amorim says that we create a lot, we've had more shots. Amorim just said there that he basically Oh, and Roberts just says, hi, hello, my friend. But guys, I will get back to your chats as well. I'm just listening to the presser. So basically, they just asked him, in terms of the defending, you've basically been playing one game a week. He's just been asked. So you've had one game a week. Do people need to take into account you've had limited options off of the bench because you've not been in European competition? But that's a get-out clause. Why didn't INEOS and the Glazers sign players? Why didn't these bunch of players? And look, I'm taking Amorim out of last season for a second. The reason why his fucking squad is bare is because we didn't beat a fucking shit Spurs side. The reason why we didn't have European football and the reason why he doesn't have a big squad is because these players, Bruno Fernandes, etc., Amorim can take some of the blame as well, didn't beat Spurs. Joke. Chip Play says hi. So, Amorim is now saying he doesn't want to use that as an excuse. So Amorim is saying it's bad luck. So I want you to bear this in mind. Amorim has just said it's bad luck to use Mbeumo, it's bad luck to use Ahmad and Bruno at the same time. So he basically said, no, Tim, we're going through the press conference that's just come out. Don't come onto the channel and tell us to change the topic. This is our channel, not yours. If you don't like the topic, go away. We're talking about the presser, the second half of the embargoed section that's just come out now. Join in the conversation or go. So Amorim has basically just said there, and this has just come out just for Tim, just for Tim. This has just come out. Amorim has basically just said the words from his lips. It is bad timing that Ahmad, Mbeumo and Bruno are all injured at the same time. You fucking knew the AFCON was coming. And look, this is not aimed at him, by the way. This club knew the AFCON was coming. What did they think was going to happen? Did they think? Isaac, I've not read any comments yet, mate. I will go back up. I'm just going through the presser first, and then I will go back up and I will read the comments again. So look, I know that I've missed a load. I'm going to do the conference. I'm going to respond to it live, and then I will we'll go back up. How can Amorim say that it's unfortunate? You knew about the AFCON. This club knew about the AFCON. Bruno, did they think Bruno was not going to get injured the whole season? This goes to show the incompetence. To think that Bruno Fernandes wasn't ever going to get injured. You knew about Mbeumo. You knew about Ahmad. Why didn't you sort that out? Why didn't you? This is why you've got no squad depth, because you've got owners of this club who were incompetent. And this is the thing that baffles me. This is the thing that annoys the shit out of me. These footballing experts, Vivell, Berrada and Wilcox, these are the epitome of the best in class. City got rid of fucking Berrada for a reason, because City are not stupid. And now he's sitting there. And look, I'm not blaming him, by the way. He's basically being the mouthpiece of this club. The guy's done that. The guy is screwed. He's sitting there saying that it is unfortunate. What are you talking about, Amorim? Why didn't your footballing experts plan for this? It baffles me, Amorim. It baffles me, mate. Why are you giving them a get out of jail fucking free card? It's right. So again, He's basically right. So again, this is where now I just tend to lose my shit. He just said, and again, he's followed it up and said, any team in the world that lose a Mbumo, Ahmad, and a Fernandez at the same time, there is no team in the world that could cope. And then one of them just said, and Mason Mount. Mason Mount has been injured all season. Mason Mount has been injured for 2 years. Why are people giving him an out? I don't get it. We've had 1 game a week. Mason Mount has been injured all fucking season, and you're trying to say that you knew we had the AFCON. You thought Bruno Fernandes wasn't going to be injured the whole fucking season, and now you're quoting Mason Mount. Mason Mount, who's been injured the whole season. Baffles me. No, he's talking about data. Nah. Now he's blaming the set pieces. By the way, he's basically now saying that because we lost those players, he's basically now saying the issue now is that who puts in the set pieces, Mbumo, Ahmad, etc. They put into the set pieces, so we need to figure that out. Are you telling me, Amorim? Are you telling me you've got players who are on? You've got players who are on 150k a week, 200k a week, who are professional football players, that you're now blaming the fact that you've got 3 players out as part of the issues. He's now using set pieces. That here's the players that we've lost. We've got professional football. I can take a fucking free kick. I mean, I could go out now, and I'm being fucking serious now, right? I could put in a free kick now. I'm not saying that I'd score. I can still cross a corner. Are you telling me these professional high-end athletes, Ruben, amongst your whole squad, your senior squad, cannot cross a ball? Amorim is now blaming the fact that these players, he's now focusing on AFCON. He's focusing on Fernandes. You've basically got a team full of professionals who are on 150 a week, and you're trying to tell me that the reason why your set pieces are shit is because your players can't play. Cunha cost you £65 million. And when he's sat here now saying that it's because of his 3 players that are gone, none of them can cross the ball. I've got no words. I've got no words. It's just said now we need to wonder why we've struggled for creation in the last 3 games. Hello from the North Pole. Hello. I was at the North Pole about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, but depend on which North Pole. Are you Norway? Sorry, are you Finland? Amorim has basically just said there, we need to figure out in the last 3 games why we've struggled for creating. Amorim, Grimsby, fucking West Ham. The list continues. We are not shit because these players have left. You've been doing it all season. My brain. I've watched every single game this season. Forest, the Toffees, the Magpies. I know we won that game, but we were trash. Like West Ham, Aston Villa. Like, I know these players were out for the Villa game, but the rest of the season they haven't. Why is he blaming AFCON? Why is he blaming these players being out? It's literally like every single game, he goes to bed and he has his basically mind is wiped. Absolute ridiculous. Okay, so now somebody is asking him. He did say that no players have come to him to knock on the door, and now they're going to talk about the transfers out. If a player was to leave, would you expect them to be replaced? Right, so it was just asked, if a player comes and knocks on your door and asks to leave, would he be replaced? I mean, it's just said, guys, we've spoken about this. He says, I think it's impossible for somebody to leave, but it's impossible to leave the club, but they need to talk to Jason. He's basically just asked, is it too simplistic to basically say that because we've bought players for the front three positions, that we've improved there, but we've not improved on the other parts of the pitch, basically because we've not strengthened there. He basically said, no, we could do better with the squad that we have. Because we suffered against the first half of Wolves. Wow. Well, boys and girls, I will go back to the comments, by the way. Second half of the presser, the embargoed section. Amorim's fucked. Amorim got a little bit more lively, but Amorim would not be pushed on the transfers. He's done. He's done. The conference again there, as I just said, the things that I take away from that bug the shit out of me, is he's basically trying to now blame the AFCON. Mate, you've had one game a week the whole season. You've had these players for one game a week the whole season. You've only haven't had them for 3 games. 3 games. Do not blame AFCON. Blame your owners, blame your masters for not giving you the players that they need. Blame your masters, but Amorim now is the mouthpiece for the Glazers. That is very clear. Amorim would not be pushed on the conference about players, about the formation. He's done. He is a dead man walking. Let's be clear on this. Amorim is a dead man walking. I'm just going to. Amorim is a dead man walking. The embargoed section of that, I mean, look, he's just fraught. Amorim is just fraught right now. So interesting to do that sort of live. Interesting to do that. I'm sure other channels will come on to that tomorrow. We'll start talking about that tomorrow as well. But look, Amorim's done. There are no signings. He will not be pushed on signings. Let me get through some of your chats. Let me go back up, guys. An interesting one. Let's get through it. Isaac, mate, I'm not getting on to that, my friend. Apologies, guys. I am going to get through these chats. I do apologise, but I will. Yeah, Dino was right. Bloody hell, guys. You are on it tonight, mate. You are on it tonight. Bloody hell. You guys are smashing it out tonight. I will get through it. You guys are smashing it out today. Really strange. It's gone down. I just watched 2 minutes of it, and he said Wilcox has told him the budget isn't there for 343. How you fallen? It's back on JB. No Ollie Watkins. Calvert-Lewin. I know. Isaac says, "Yep, it's me again. Should I get a laser on my buttock?" Do you find parodies funny? Yes, I do. I literally just watched two minutes of it. What did you eat today? I ate salad today, mate. The board will come out next, and I'm putting a bid for Anderson just to deflect. What about a cheeky bid for Osman, mate? Mate, it is. Listen, after that presser, it is not happening. Ryan says, if or when we sack Ruben, we'll be in the same position in another year's time with these owners. We're not fully back any manager. See him protected, though, that's always half-assed. Agree. Just watched it now, JB. Presser on YouTube. I did get through that. The Glazers and INEOS. Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. So far behind the chat. Yes, I am. Can anyone tell you're not a joke that will make John laugh? Amin was asked about his comments about science. His response was clear. He doesn't want to talk about that, and only the Leeds game. I'm one of the few who can make John laugh and confuse that at the same time. Isaac, you are completely right, my friend. I agree. I watched the presser, and it's clear that Wilcox has said there is no money for new players. Agreed. Barney says would love Zidane. The only thing with Zidane is he can't speak English, and Zidane would need players. Would you ever eat a Pakistani kebab? I don't know if there's a connotation there. Maybe Arsenal defensive coach Gabriel Heinze. He's going for sure. No money in the system. That's a complete joke. I'm a Yorkshire version of Romano, says Dino. Hey up, lad. The only every time I hear like a Yorkshire thing is I always think of hey up, lad. Hey up, lad. Out you doing? We bought a Ferrari and can't service it. Matthew says stick in there, and we may have a hope for the Bournemouth manager next season. We got money for Semenyo, but now we've got no money. King says hi, hello. I'm from Kurdistan, says King. JB, we're getting 0 players. Amrin's checked out. I do agree with you. We're getting no one. Wonder Amrin looked bad. I do agree. What do you think about the US ad? Yeah, mate, I'm not mentioning that because I will get banned. No signing, no manager. This club is rotten top to bottom. The dreaded heavy site. Tell me that we're not getting signings without telling me we're not getting signings. Exactly. Amrin is done. JB, the club not making any signings. It's the club not backing him. Ryan says INEOS bought Ten Hag players. Make sure that's working. INEOS bought players for Ten Hag, then sacked him. I don't get enough people are saying there are more going to sign any players for Ruben because they're going to sack him. That is a fair point. If their team believes in him, then they will play out their skins and will die for the shirt like the good old days, but they don't. 5 at best. The truth, to be honest, we'll get a lot of decent chances that aren't finished. Amrin out. Tulip places hi JB. Recruitment is a 5.5. Are you going to read my comments? Yes, I have. Not bad time. AFCON was always going to happen. Exactly. Lunatics running the asylum. They sure are. Very passionate tonight, mate. Yeah, mate. I am on it tonight, mate. Grace says, anyone else want to piss me off? Grace, we do not want to piss you off. The thing is, where the bloody hell do we go from here? Matthew says, I'm loving this, a proper football debate live. We can feel the pain and no one's chatting. He's insufferable in his pressers. It's just a joke. Clowns are running the circus. He's been told by Wilcox he's not getting any players. I do agree with you. Total boycott needed. INEOS a skint. Professional window shopper. Amorim can't do anything if players don't know how to touch the damn ball. I agree with you. Players are confused in the positions and no one seems to know what Amorim's supposed to do. Hello from the North Pole. Hello. Protests away. The fat cats are interested. Effing missed out on Neymar as well. I know all too well. Everton said it for me. JB, it's a clear sign the board are not backing him with the transfer funds. They are not backing him, so they're going to still keep him, back him or sack him. Football players are the worst overpaid sports people ever. I don't disagree. Absolutely nobody's playing for the badge except Bruno. Players should be equally held accountable. I'm nervous about tomorrow. Yep. If they can't back him, then get proper coach that can work with the current players. They're trying to get him to leave of his own accord so they don't have to pay him. Going to be up all night reading the comments. Nothing will change until the ownership changes. We're truly in the turmoil. Mark Smith says #Free Man United. I do agree with you. Stephen Moore says, "Where are you finishing this season?" I've said this all season. I've said this all season between 8th to 10th. He's not getting the results, and the football is shite. Hopefully, he can keep us somewhere afloat until he's replaced. Grace says, "So will the next manager get money in the summer? Imagine top teams around spend 200 plus, and we don't spend anything because we've got no money." Grace, good point as always. Glazers always provide some funds. To be fair, the Glazers don't. Alex, the Glazers don't provide any funds. It's the revenue from the club that do. And the funny thing, Alex, is everything's bought on credit. We've got £600 million of basically credit card debt. The Glazers don't put a single penny into the club. The Glazers don't provide funds. Let's be clear on that, Alex. And mate, I'm not calling you out on that at all. Factually, the Glazers don't provide money. The club does. Southgate, I guarantee it. Should we be targeting the players we actually want? We spent 800 plus over 4 summers. How many players have been successful? We have spent half of that and still been shit. Everyone is wrong. Everything that is wrong with the club is mentioned here. Let me have the final word tonight. Maybe. Southgate is the yes man the Glazers and INEOS wanted. I think they could do one better with Southgate. I'm going to bet on it. Southgate. And again, look, if you've watched this channel before, these are the things that I've said, and it doesn't mean that I'm right, by the way. These are the things that I've said, and I will go in order. Number one, I've said that he will die. Amorim will die on the hill. Amorim will die on this Bruno Fernandes obsession. We will finish between 8th and 10th. The Glazers will not spend any money in the January window because there's no value in the market and they're skint. I can name you some different things as well, but look, those for me are major things. Alex says, all good, bad wording on my behalf. No, mate, I get it completely. Herbie says, no matter what happens in tomorrow's game, no corner will be turned anytime soon, but I still want Amorim to succeed. I'm probably being an idiot. Look, Herbie, mate, you're not, mate. I would love him to succeed as well, right? I really, really would. But for me, it's gone beyond that now. I don't look. For me, I would give him to the end of the season. Look, for me, Amorim now has to go. The conference there, that embargoed section of that conference, is a man who knows he's going. I didn't want him to go. There's a tipping point now that's been reached, and he's not coming back. Amorim is not coming back from this. I don't think professionally, him personally, I don't think he comes back from this. If he does, it'll probably be the biggest comeback in football ever. I don't see Amorim coming back from it. I think there's a tipping point that has been reached, and I think he's gone. I think whatever happened, if we look, even if we beat Leeds, which I don't think that we will, Brighton in the FA Cup, Burnley away, City at home, Arsenal away. No. Where would Amorim be if you brought in a decent 8 and put Bruno at 10? I think that we're never going to know. What do you think about the Joshua fight? I thought that I want to believe that Joshua was told to basically not do anything until that 6th round, because otherwise it's taken AJ 6 rounds to put a YouTuber down. So I think that Joshua was playing with him, and I'm glad he's broken his jaw. I'm glad he's shut down one of the pools. Good. Grace says, give me the job, Delo captain by tomorrow, and a back 7 just for the fans. Grace, I love it. Guarantee Amorim wars after tomorrow's game. Southgate in within a month. I'm watching, says ING. We've been saying it for months. JB was wanting to be proved wrong, but they just couldn't help themselves. Amorim to succeed, the press has said it all. I do agree. Usman says, do you think United have already experienced the lowest point of this season? Do you think there's worse yet to come? Yeah, I do. I do think there's worse to come. I do think there is. I do think there is. Like, Usman, the worst point of the season could be Amorim gets sacked. Look, I know people just dismiss managers being sacked, right? If Amorim gets sacked, he's had basically less than everybody else. Like, if Amorim gets sacked, then we're back to square one again. That is the lowest point. We're at, and I know 15th place will seem like the lowest point. We are really at the lowest point. This is low, and I know that the table doesn't reflect it, right? And people from the outside and all they say is, "Oh, stop complaining. You've gone, we're 12 points behind Villa." This is probably the worst season, the worst results I've seen for such a long time. John, if they paid you 60 million to play for your club, would you do it? Of course I would do. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not blaming. I don't blame people. Look, if somebody's going to pay me 60 million to take a dive, hell yeah. That presser reminded me of the Conte Spurs presser that got him sacked. Good day, all Man United lovers around the world. Why sack a manager with 8 of his best players out? If he had a full squad, lost or drew to Wolves, then yeah, there's a conversation. But wait until look, I'm gonna stop you there. Where, right? I'm going to stop you there. 3 games, right? 3 games. You cannot use the AFCON or players out. We have had a full team playing 1 game a week the whole season. Grimsby. Where's the excuse for Grimsby? I feel like the manager and some fans have a blow to the head after every single game. Forest, Spurs, Everton, Grimsby, West Ham. These players have been gone for 3 games. What United are doing, that this fan base are now lapping up on what Amorim is doing as well. He's blaming the AFCON. This club and this manager knew that AFCON was coming. He's had a full team for the entire season. He's talking about Mason Mount. Mason Mount's been out for 2 fucking years. Like, what is he talking about? Bruno Fernandes, did they not think that he was going to get injured for the whole season? What incompetent, what idiotic club thinks that a singular player who's basically been playing, 50 to 60 games since he was 25, he's coming up for 32, is not going to get injured? This is my point, mate. You can't use the AFCON. You cannot use the AFCON because we've had 1 game a week. These players have been here the whole season. Everton, West Ham, Spurs, the Forest game. Everybody was here. That is not an excuse. Not an excuse. Abdullah says, hi, hello. Grace says, would you have taken a wing back and a midfielder, but you only get one of the 3 attackers that came in? Yes. Yes, I would. Yeah, I would. The difficulty there, though, Grace, for me, is the problem with that is we needed a... Well, actually, no, Grace. I'll tell you with hindsight, I would agree with you. Because what I would do is I would have kept Højlund, Bruno as a 10, Mbeumo as a 10, and then go and get... I only take him back and only get... Okay, yeah, I would have kept Højlund, Bruno in 10, Mbeumo as the other 10, and then gone and got a centre midfielder and a wing back. Yes, yeah, agreed. A loss for owners would be ideal to the scumbags. IMG says everything is about sharing of knowledge and ideas of everyone. Positive knowledge and ideas are very important. Amron is just collecting checks. What comes to your mind when you... I'm not getting into that. INEOS are literally worse than the Glazers. I think their combination is the same. What we want to do is get back to where we belong, fighting for the title. Nothing less for me, and I'll be disappointed until we get back there. No money for transfers made. It's why they haven't sacked him. They can't actually afford to sack him. Oh, niche, mate. Niche, mate. That is hilarious. Niche, that's hilarious. The Afghans sneaked up on us. We didn't realise this year. Usman says, can you imagine United free-fall continues for as many years already? United move into 100k capacity stadium. The stadium talk needs to be put on hold until we challenge again. I do agree with you. Spitting fire tonight. I'm trying, mate. It's a good looking table at the moment. Hopefully no other teams play a game come forward. Can't even fix the roof. I'm not being funny. United has always had a UK backbone. When we put a team of foreigners, which sounds like quite soon, it will be very, very sad. Is 1 inch too long for hair? No. He's not meeting expectations. I think he'll get sacked in the summer, maybe late this season when we're mathematically out of Europe. I think he's getting sacked soon, mate. INEOS are fake billionaires based on debt. Yes, they are. I think the fact that the football has been dire has also played a big part in how we're feeling. I appreciate the last 2 press conferences haven't helped Aaron's scores either. I think the fact that football has been dire is also... Yeah. Craig says, I can't believe what I'm witnessing. My granddad would be ashamed of the United side. Bless him, he was a die-hard fan and would be a mess if he was... He says, and Craig, look, mate, it's basically the same as me, mate. Like my granddad was a massive supporter. And Craig, look, mate, and this is why, Craig. This is why, mate. It absolutely. This is why I'm so passionate about it. This is why I will rant about 2 things: the Glazers, INEOS, who are destroying the club, and people who come on here and attack the fans. Right? Because, Craig, there's people like your granddad, people like you, people like me, people like in this chat, whose grandfathers, whose uncles, brothers, sisters, mums, aunties, who supported this club for such a long time. And when people attack the fans, I can't abide it. And we've got owners who have destroyed this club. And Craig, it is, mate, it saddens me, mate. It does, mate. It does. It's so upsetting to think the team you used to watch with him. And again, mate, we're not asked. Look, I think people think that what we're saying here is that we're expecting to win the league. We're not. Well, we do, but we want to be competitive. That is literally the only thing that we're asking, is to be competitive and to play a style of football that we've always played. And it is our disgrace. Johnny, be honest, do women like, mate, Isaac, I don't know, mate. Mate, I think you'd have to ask them. JB, simple question. What has happened to our club? I'm just lost for words. Look, Dino, what's happened to this club is the mismanagement, the negligence, which is, look, if the Glazers had been running a company like they have been running this club, they would probably be done for fraud. And I'm not kidding. They would probably be done for the mismanagement of a business, and they would probably be liable and sued. What's happened is the negligence of people who bought this club on debt because they wanted an asset to own, because they basically wanted to make money off of the name. They've never put a single penny of their money into this club. And if you don't know this club and you don't know the background, the Glazers have never put money into the club. They've never done anything to the stadium. They don't answer questions to the fans. That is what's fundamentally wrong with, and they've spun this fan base. They've intoxicated this fan base. They've intoxicated the club. One word: Glazers. Usman said, does your support have a limit? Could United ever lose your support, or will you always support them regardless? Usman, I will support this club regardless. My support for the club, I think, look, this is the difference, I think, between, and again, I'm not trying to say that I'm better than somebody who's 15 years old, right? But this club, to me, is not just about owners, and not just about the owners, not just about players, not just about the coach. This club, for me, is about you and me, right? This club has been part of my life since I was 4 years old. This club has been here before my wife. The club has been here before my children. Doesn't mean that it's more important. The club has been here since I was 4 years old. The club has seen my granddad die, my nans die, has seen me through a marriage twice, has seen me through 3 children, has seen me through good times, through some bad times, and it's not players. Players come and go. It's not the manager. Managers come and go. It's not the owners. To a degree, it's even not the physical stadium. It is to a point. But this club is about me and you. This club is about this community. This club is about sharing stuff. So there is no limit. I would still support this club even if we were in the Conference League, right? Because I've been supporting this club now for so many years. It is literally part of me. And look, people may say that is a childish way to look at stuff. People may say it's only a football game. People may say, that, they don't understand about passions, right? But people in life are passionate about all sorts of things, like singing, music, cars, right? This is part of who I am. And look, people don't get it. This is part of who I am, and it has been for 38 years. So this club to me is not about players. Well, it is to a point, but it's about us. It's about fans. It's about the things that we share together. It's about those experiences that you share with your mum, your dad, your brother, sister, family. It's family. I reckon INEOS are just a massive Ponzi scheme. Can we just give a shout out to the fans? And Matthew, I always say this on this channel, a fan is a fan is a fan. Massive, massive shout out to the fans, to the online fans, to the fans that watch the games. Big special praise to the fans that go to the matches. Big special ones, thanks to the ones that go to the away games as well. The fans are not to blame here. We've been an asset stripped. Get me my infinity gauntlet. I will restore the balance. My granddad even had his ashes scattered on the pitch. I feel like they have even let him down. And mate, you know, Craig, mate, it just look. It saddens me to hear it, right? Because they're gonna knock it down. And Craig, this is why I keep saying I don't want a new stadium. This is why I keep saying the Glazers have destroyed our fucking home. We're gonna have to knock our home down because of these incompetent cretins. And Craig, like it saddens me. It saddens me, my friend. Ask you, Johnny, from your experience, mate. Great show as usual, and answering it. Cheers, buddy. Nobody like Harry says hi. Hello, Harry. 29.5, nearly at 30. Hello. I am a super fan. Welcome, my friend. Happy New Year to you as well, my friend. The club that you were supporting didn't exist anymore. It does exist. It does exist. It just doesn't exist in the same way. I could be on my deathbed, but I'd ask my wife, did we win? Exactly. A long time, poison was injected into this club, and the poison is running rampant through the club. Matthew says, I take my boy to the same football ground like I was never good enough to play for until I was a teenager. Exactly. I love this club. I can't explain this part of my life. Did you ever play football yourself? I did play football. Look, to no standard. I always played like Sunday league. I was very, 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 very quick. Very, very quick, but not good enough to play. Not good enough to play at a good standard. But I play football. Craig says I'm semi-pro. I play for Wickford Town. I think we would have a good go at them. Craig, the funny thing is, Craig, if that's Wickford in Essex, I don't know if you're talking about Wickford Town in Essex. I basically live around the corner, mate. So if you're talking to Craig, right, if you're talking Wickford Town in Essex, let me check. Town FC. Yes, mate. If you play for Wickford Town, I basically live around the corner, mate. So let me know, Craig, because I basically live. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell the community exactly where I live, but I basically live in and around close to Wickford. Trust the process means lower your expectations. It sure does. Wickford fan here now, mate. Legend. Let me get some of this stuff. Harry says, to be fair to the Glazers, even though I despise them, the stadium is old. It would cost millions that the club doesn't have every year to keep it going. Look, Harry, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. Harry says, I'm not sure, but I think it would cost a lot more money to try to repair and replace the stadium. And look, Harry, I agree in terms of the basically where we are, but Harry, my argument to that is if these Glazers were custodians and looked after the club and looked after the ground, it wouldn't cost as much. It's basically a bit like if you own a home or you rent a home, right, and you don't look after your home, and you just let the pipes burst and you just let the ceiling fall down. if you'd have just taken care of that leak, if you'd have fixed your roof, you'd be fine. But it's going to cost you more money, you know. Yeah, Essex, mate. I'm a Basildon lad. Craig, I'm not too far, mate. I live in around. I'm not going to say exactly where I live, but it begins with a B and ends in icky. And I live close to you, mate. Yeah, I live in Essex, and I live very, very close to Basildon and Wickford as well. I live in between the two. We've got a lot of supporters tonight. Hell yeah. You've come to the end of the comments, mate. I will always read the comments out, mate. I'm from Indonesia. Craig says, thanks for the support. Harry says, like I said, I hate the Glazers. I think they've been toxic for the club, but I think knocking down Old Trafford at its current state is the right decision. Harry, I think that's going to be a very, very divisive comment. I've got strong opinions on that, but Craig says, and I went to Lapland a week before you, mate. That's Craig. That is scary, mate. That is scary. That is very, very scary. We'll probably have to meet up soon, mate. You know, we could go for a beer, mate, or I could come down to watch your team play. Thanks for sounds like you've been married, judging by the last maintenance. Yes, mate. I have been married twice. I'm on to the second marriage. Sometimes could be three now, but yeah, I'm on to the second one. Stalker vibes, JB. Check your windows, mate. If somebody wants to stalk me, all I'm going to say to them is get a life, because you wouldn't want to stalk me. Greg says you can and watch a game and have dinner and a beer, mate. I would love to come down, my friend. I'd be there in the stands. Always happy to support a subscriber, you know. So, mate, legend. Yeah, well, Scott. I mean, you know, look, Scott has obviously got things more important. I said I live in Craig's Hill. I mean, that's pretty close as well, isn't it? I mean, Jesus. I mean, look, we should all do some sort of meet. JB, what do you think of the other channels on YouTube? They all seem to be hoping that United keep losing so they can create more clickbait content. Look, those channels have to do them, right? I'm not going to lie. I am honest and upfront. I've watched a couple of bits and pieces from the channels today, and they're still going on about fucking Belabor. I mean, what are they talking about? I mean, Belabor. You know, they want United to lose so they can scream and shout. My parents live in Bowers, Gifford, mate. I mean, look, you know, again, it's amazing how many of you guys are from Essex. Like, it's scary days. JB, have you ever thought about doing your own? Mate, I've got no time, mate. I absolutely have got zero time, mate. Also, I've got a full-time job as well, mate. If I had time, if I could do my time again, I would probably go into that aspect of it. But I don't have time, mate. Don't have time, buddy. Scores for tomorrow, says Matthew. I think we're going to lose. I think, and I'm going to predict something tomorrow. I think Amorim loses his job tomorrow. I want him to be given till the end of the season. I think if we have a big loss tomorrow, I think Amorim goes. There are certain... Can I say too much? I don't know. There are people... Look, there are people that I know who have worked at the club and or are affiliated to club, and when I say things I do on here, some of it is just my best guess. Some of it is based on some of the stuff that people have told me, whether or not their information is as accurate. But the things I've been told, like for example, the fact that we're not going to make any of signings, that's what I keep saying. That's what I keep saying. I don't believe we're going to do any signings other than a Gallagher. That's why I keep saying that I think Amorim is going to die on that hill. That's why I'm saying tonight that if Amorim gets battered tomorrow, I think he's gone. So look, can't really say too much on that. They're rubbing their hands together, JB. Exactly, mate. It's all about content for them. Harry says, I agree with you there. We're here, and I agree they need to F off. But I think let's look at this decision from now. 1-1 from me. I'm from Gloucestershire. Good evening from South Africa, says JB. I hope you're doing extremely well. Oh dear, 0-1 cold, scrappy win. Not a quick thing to do either, JB, especially when you have a full-time job. Did my level 1 every other weekend. Do you live near my parents? No, I live... Bowers Gifton. I'll tell you. Hang on a second. Let's do this live. Bowers Gifton. Let's have a little look live, mate. Let's look live. I live around the corner, mate. I reckon I live... Yeah, mate. I live around the corner. I live, Isaac, from your parents. I live 17 minutes away from your parents, mate. I don't know their address because I'm not weird like that. But I live around the corner. Yeah. You should. It says you should collaborate with the United View channel. Look, mate, I would love to. I would love to, but look, you know, you guys have to be the ones who say, look, there's this channel out there, you know, go and collaborate with them. You know, I can't look. You know, I would look. There are some channels that I would love to go on and speak to, but what you've got to understand, like, about this game, right, that I'm learning is you know, like, there are people like me who will basically, I don't care, I will give anybody like the time. I don't care how small they are, I don't care how big they are. I will literally collaborate because I care about views? Of course I do. I would love this channel to get so big that I can quit my job and do this, right? But it's probably never going to happen. So look, I just don't do things for views, right? I've got a full-time job. I don't do this for views. This is a passion for me. So look, I would love to collaborate with anybody, but people don't seem to be forthcoming. What's happening on Monday then? Well, Matthew, let's see, Matthew. Let's see. The things that I know or been told that if Amorim gets absolutely tanked, looking at the conference, let's see. Harry says my uncle works for the directors at United. Look, Harry, maybe you can, you know, get some information. How does your village name begin with? It begins with a B and rhymes with sticky. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. John does just eats. You probably do. I'd love to see you debate Mark Goldbridge. I would happily debate him. I know he's got a very, very high opinion of himself, but I would love to. I would absolutely love to have a conversation with him. Love to. I would love to. Never say never, JB. JB, the entertainment business can be brutal. Take your time before you know it. It's happening. JB, only one can happen in your lifetime. This channel gets a million subscribers. Or JB, one can happen in your lifetime. This channel gets a million subscribers, or United do a treble. United, mate. United do a mate. I look. In life, I'm very, very lucky to have my home, to like have my kids, to have my wife, to have a home, right? Very, 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 very fortunate, right? This is just a bonus. The fact that you guys even give the channel the time of day. Look, basically, I can't lose, right? I can't lose. You guys give me the time of day. I never thought this channel would get anywhere near the views. I enjoy this. Like, guys, you will never know how much you've changed my life. And I know that sounds a bit like, oh, bloody hell. But the fact that you give the channel the time of day. So look, I feel very, very fortunate to even like have this channel. So if it means that we win a treble, I would happily sacrifice the channel for that, because that is what this is about. You know, if I was to sit here and say, oh, I won a massive, look, don't get me wrong, it would be amazing, right? I would love to have both. It'd be amazing to have both and then bring to you the treble stuff, right? But if it was one or the other, mate, the treble, because I have already won, right? So the treble. Jamie says, where do you think you'd finish this season? I'm going to be consistent. I think we finish between 8th and 10th. No, he's one of who likes his bosses, so he doesn't crap on them. And just ease the pain. It's all over them, just the Glazers and Jim. The only thing I like about Goldbridge is when they score and he has a meltdown. If you don't have people you don't love, you don't have nothing. Exactly. You know, I'd have done trouble in look, Harry, mate. Yeah. I'm very, very lucky, but I would want them to win the treble again for the younger fans. Look, you can't replicate winning a league. You can't. It doesn't matter how many times you win the league. It's just as sweet. Isaac says, yeah, might be. Isaac, mate, I'm not going to confirm or deny, but yes, mate. John says, welcome to the entertainment world. The only thing I'd like to see is a full screen on chat. And look, the only reason why I do this and I'm going to switch over is basically because at the moment it's just easier for me, right? But I will look to switch over. I can easily do it. I've been meaning to do it, but I'm just lazy, right? This is easier for me to do at a quick. I wasn't going to do a show tonight, but this, But look, I will set that up, and if you guys want to see more of a full screen, then I'm happy to do that. The only thing the Glazers sacrifice is babies. Goldbridge's meltdowns with Dorgu was offside is hilarious. Started to praise him at the same breath, calling him a shithouse. If we finish at 8th or 10th, do you think they'll sack Cameron? Jamie, I think he's gone anyway. I think he's gone regardless. Ishmael said, also congratulations, almost 300 on 30. To put that into context, you would feel Sunderland Stadium would like that, mate. Look, it blows my mind. I don't take it for granted. It is unbelievable. And it is. Look, it's the bigger we get, the more things that I can do, and it's a massive congratulations to you guys as well, because underestimate your part in it. Like, if it's not for you, and look, these are facts. If it wasn't for you guys, there is no channel. So as much as that the channel is this is my face and this is me talking, right? This is I am basically just like the same as you guys. We're just like having a chat. This is yours as much as it is mine. Come on by Alex's 13th, who must be bored. I won't tell. Thanks, Isaac. Don't tell anybody. It's our secret, mate. I support Arsenal. We are winning the league, says Rory. Yes. Who would you replace him with? Mate, at this point, unless you're going to back him, I would say replace him with Southgate, replace him with Xavi, replace him with Dyche. Prince Will says, I will not celebrate the incompetence in you. In the management, we all knew Amorim play with 3-4-3 and expect a 4-4-2, a 4-3-3. No backing to sign the players. Agree with you completely. Prince Will, agree with you completely, my friend. I subbed assist. Thank you, Doctor. I subbed assist losing tomorrow. Harry says, bring back Ollie. Look, before I go, fantastic show again tonight. I just want to say, look, tomorrow, do I hope we win? Yes. Guys, I can't predict the score. John, do you know the bloody hell's going on with Mainu? Mainu's injured, mate. Mainu was taken out of the squad punishment, but he's injured. Will we be having our watch? I don't know, Dino, tomorrow. I'll definitely be doing a I'll delete this. I often run past there, mate. No, Isaac, you don't have to, mate. It's fine. As long as people don't know exactly where I live and people don't know my address, but I run past there every couple of days, so I know exactly where that is. I've been to many parties there as well, so so I might do a watch along tomorrow. Maybe I'll definitely do a reaction show. I'm definitely going to watch the game tomorrow. I just don't know if I'm going to do a watch along tomorrow. I will let you know, because I know it's an early game. I will let you know early doors, but I will plan to do a watch along, but I will be watching the game. So look, whatever happens, we will do something. Let's see. Every player he wanted other than Dorgu was 4th or 5th choice. It's a regular recruit. And Jamie, spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. I cannot disagree with you. Isaac got you locked down, JB. I'll be waiting for you. Look, mate. Wait for me, mate. It's as long as you're gonna wait for me in a purely platonic way, mate. Then then we're good. Princess, I'm not against sacking Amorim, but Amorim is not the problem, mate. Exactly that. Have a good afternoon, says Harry. Thank you. Let's go for a run together. Isaac, mate. Look, Isaac, happily take you on a run. Isaac, mate. Yeah, no. Isaac, I'll happily take you on a run on one condition. There's one condition, right? Is that don't puke too much when Isaac, mate. Mate, Isaac, pal. Mate, you look. You might be a boxer, mate, but I'm a runner. And I can do 5 miles. Isaac, I can run 100k, mate, in one go. I do 5 miles as a warm up, mate. So Isaac, mate, I'd love to. Yeah, bring it on, mate. 5 miles in an hour. What can I do in an hour? I didn't even think, mate. Yeah, I agree. I'm not a runner. Look, mate, I'm sure you could beat the shit out of me, but you'd have to catch me first. Oh, I love it, mate. One condition, JB can bring the tripod. I'm gonna have to strap it down, mate. Gonna have to strap it down. 4 minutes, Roger Bannister. Oh, mate. Nah, mate. I think my quickest mile was about 5 minutes 20, 5 minutes 30. I walk most of the 5 miles, to be honest, says Isaac. I love it, mate. No, I might be a little bit older. I'm a little bit of a mature guy now, but I still got a little bit. Mama's 420. Fucking hell, mate. That is quick. That is quick, mate. 420 is rapid. Yeah, it's very, very quick. Respect. I mean, that is ridiculous. So look, guys, tomorrow I can't predict tomorrow. I can't. Just that I was a cross country runner. I mean, look, that is the one of the most difficult things that you can do. Cross country, I used to run it in school. I've not run it for a little while. Cross country season is brutal. Absolutely brutal. Dino says mine is 4 days and 20 minutes. Mate, that is ridiculous. I mean, I've done 200Ks now, right? It's fucking brutal, mate. It is brutal. I message you next when I'm, mate. I'll message you next time when I'm in Lake Meadows. Mate, I'm going there tomorrow. I'm going there tomorrow with my kids to do a park run. So I'm taking my kids tomorrow to there, and we're going to do a children's park run tomorrow. So I was it was raining, very slippery, says Dino. I love it, buddy. So look, tomorrow I can't predict tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend. I won't bother you then. Look, my kids will run past us both. I can't predict the win tomorrow. I can't do. As it says, I live in Leeds, mate. Look, if you can run from Leeds to Essex, mate, you go for it, buddy. You're not a player who loses confidence on the pitch. Let them talk to them tomorrow. Exactly. I'll be interested to see the lineups as Dino. Mate, I don't think it matters tomorrow. I'll get the train. Please do, mate. So look, I think tomorrow, I don't know. I don't know. Cross country easy, says DJ, mate. You put me to shame. You put me to shame, mate. Absolutely do. So look, yeah, tomorrow, I don't know. If I was a betting man, seriously though, I need some cucumber connections in. I need some connections in finance, mate. I look, if you send me an email, mate, tell me what connections that you need. I know people and things in finance, so that's what I do. So if you need some connections, then let me know. I use the cross country Uber app, great service, and it's quick. Dino, I love it, mate. So I'm going to go for a loss tomorrow. This is what I think tomorrow. I think, judging on today, if United get pumped 3-0 tomorrow, I think Amorim gets sacked tomorrow. I think Amorim comes out of the game and gets sacked. I think if Amorim wins tomorrow, I think it will be a delayed thing. I think it's only going to be a matter of time. If Amorim loses tomorrow, then depending on the score, depending on their performance, I think he gets sacked tomorrow. So look, I don't want it to happen. I'm going to watch the game. I might be back for a watch along tomorrow. Isaac, my lovely compatriot, mate, I will speak to you again tomorrow at some point. You're a sweet young lad, and you know, legend. So I will be back tomorrow at some point. If not a watch on, I would definitely be back for a reaction. Let's see if my sources are full of shit tomorrow. Let's see tomorrow. I hope we win. I hope Amorim gets time. So look, I'm not hoping that we lose tomorrow. So look, let's see. So guys, look, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for being here, legends as you are. Thank you for supporting the channel. And as we get into 2026, fingers crossed we can continue the growth. And I really do support all of your support. So guys, I'll be back tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow at some point. Hopefully we can get a win for us fans. I don't give a shit about the players. I don't give a shit about the coach really. I just hope that we can win for us fans tomorrow, so we can have something to talk about or compare about. So look, guys, thank you for being here. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel. And I will be back tomorrow. So have a good rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, you legend. And I will see you tomorrow. Take care, guys.